What are you seeing from them of late?
Yeah, and their offense, obviously, without Steph for the last couple of games, has plummeted. They're 24th in the league in offense in that 6-game stretch. And when you talk to folks around the team, the message that you get is that the team is exhausted. Now, they have not played like a crazy demanding schedule. They have played 3 back-to-backs. They are starting a very challenging 6-game road trip tonight, which you don't want to play Oklahoma City anytime, but certainly to start a 6-game road trip. But this team has been exhausted. They are an older team. Steve Kerr plays 11 or 12 players. There's nobody on this team averaging more than 31 minutes a night. But Jimmy Butler has been worn down. He dealt with a back injury. Al Horford has been protected and missed some games. Some of their other players have been worn down. So they've just got to keep their heads above water and try to get through this period. They do get some of these days back, and they get a big homestand coming after this. But they're a team that is complaining about being worn out in the second week of November, which is not something you hear often.
No, 11 games in. They've lost 5 straight on the road. Again, the hot start, not so much of late. And if you thought Wendy was good right here, right now, wait till you see him 3 Eastern on NBA Today. Wendy, good stuff. Thank you. SportsCenter Mavs have fired general manager Nico Harrison, whose time with the team will be forever remembered by the awful Luka Doncic trade. Harrison's dismissal comes to the Mavs off to a 3-8 start. Both Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving sidelined with injuries. So for being fair, the team isn't at full health, but that's not what this is about, is Brian Windhorst joins us now. So, Wendy, what do you make of the decision to fire Nico now?
Yeah, well, Nico wasn't fired for the idea to trade Luka Doncic. That's a tough basketball case to make. You could make it. He's being fired because he couldn't sell it, and also because the trade itself had a terrible process. The shock of this is something that the fan base is still reeling from, and never in this whole time was Nico ever able to articulate exactly what his thought process were. And when he did try to explain himself, it often came out as arrogant. And when that was compounded by injuries, you had basically a brand crisis for the Dallas Mavericks. They were in a situation where not only were they losing, they're losing because they have their 2 best players on the injury list and they have an 18-year-old starting a point guard. But they had a situation where it became toxic for their own players in their home arena. And that was a product not so much of wanting to trade Luka, but the way that Nico Harrison went about it. And that's why this came down in November, firing a general manager.
Yeah, because there was always going to be that dark cloud. And you're right. If the current players who had nothing to do with this are going to get the shrapnel from that, there's just no reason why he should be around. Michael Finley and Matt Riccardi, they're going to lead the Mavs basketball operations on an interim basis. Let's switch gears now to the Thunder and Warriors. They're going to meet tonight. Steph Curry expected to return from illness. Golden State started the season 4-1 Wendy, but they've lost 4 of their last 5. What are you seeing from them of late?
Yeah, and their offense, obviously, without Steph for the last couple of games, has plummeted. They're 24th in the league in offense in that 6-game stretch. And when you talk to folks around the team, the message that you get is that the team is exhausted. Now, they have not played like a crazy demanding schedule. They have played 3 back-to-backs. They are starting a very challenging 6-game road trip tonight, which you don't want to play Oklahoma City anytime, but certainly to start a 6-game road trip. But this team has been exhausted. They are an older team. Steve Kerr plays 11 or 12 players. There's nobody on this team averaging more than 31 minutes a night. But Jimmy Butler has been worn down. He dealt with a back injury. Al Horford has been protected and missed some games. Some of their other players have been worn down. So they've just got to keep their heads above water and try to get through this period. They do get some of these days back, and they get a big homestand coming after this. But they're a team that is complaining about being worn out in the second week of November, which is not something you hear often.
No, 11 games in. They've lost 5 straight on the road. Again, the hot start, not so much of late. And if you thought Wendy was good right here, right now, wait till you see him 3 Eastern on NBA Today. Wendy, good stuff. Thank you.
So Nico Harrison has been under fire for about 9 months since the Luka Doncic trade. Why did the Mavs decide to let him go now?
Christine, Nico Harrison had set championship expectations for this team. And what we've seen is a roster and an organization in a tailspin early this season. The start of the year, they're one of the worst teams in the NBA. And this is the start of the Mavericks and owner Patrick Dumont admitting the mistake that they believe they made with the Luka Doncic trade and the start of taking accountability and, as one source told me, doing right by the fans. And Nico Harrison multiple times, whether it was saying time will tell if I was right, whether it was after the Kyrie Irving ACL injury in March, saying still next season, being this year, we're going to enter with championship expectations. We're going to be a championship quality team. They obviously have not been so far. And one other issue that had come up in the last several weeks is Patrick Dumont believing that Nico Harrison did not do a good enough job of educating him as owner-GM relationship, and believing that Nico Harrison was simply just using his power. So the process starts now to take ownership of accountability for the Mavericks after that trade 9 months ago. And given given the start, they felt they had to make this step.
I would imagine the fire Nico chants don't really help him out either. So where do the Mavs go from here?
They're going to have a full basketball operations search that's going to continue over the next period of time. Right now, Michael Finley, Matt Riccardi, current executives there. They will be the head basketball executives in the interim. But this is an organization that has decisions to make. They're 3-8, one of the worst teams in the West and the NBA. And this 2026 NBA draft is loaded, is top heavy. This is the last draft that the Mavericks have control of until 2031. So teams around the league are waiting to see how the Mavericks are going to prioritize this draft and building around Cooper Flag. That means they're going to have decisions to make. One name to keep an eye on as far as this GM search will be Dennis Lindsey. He's a current executive in Detroit, formerly the head executive of the Utah Jazz, and he also was an advisor for the Mavericks during the 2023-2024 NBA Finals run season.
All right, the one good news is that Cooper Flag did look pretty good last night against the Bucks, even though they did lose. He had 26 points, so we'll see what happens in the future. Shams will have more on NBA Today at 3 Eastern. Before that, Brian Windhorst will join us here at 2:30. Shams, thank you.
9 games this season. David, does Jokic deserve more MVP love?
Yeah, doesn't it got to feel like we're kind of oddly looking over him? Luka scoring 40, Giannis dumping everybody, and Jokic just moseying along with the second most triple-doubles through 9 games behind Oscar Robertson. Nuggets are 6-0 at home, real championship contenders, and Jokic is just doing his thing. We're not giving him enough attention.
By the way, he doesn't care about any of the attention, but you're right. Off to the Garden, Cat and Jalen Brunson led the Knicks to a 134-98 win over the Nets. New York is now 6-0 at home for the first time since the 12-13 season. Mark, how intriguing is the Knicks offense?
Very intriguing. They're averaging about 5 more points a game than they did before. Knicks fans, be patient. Mike Brown is going to do a great job there. And who else is doing a great job right now? Cat, 24-12 in November.
Okay, looking good. Now, to Inglewood, up to no good. We're on Sunday. The Suns beat the Clippers 114-103. The Clippers have now lost 4 consecutive games in 5 of their last 6. Ramona, what's going on with the Clippers?
Well, they're at the bottom of the league in defensive rating and turnovers and pace of play. Probably time to move John Collins into that starting lineup because they're getting killed on the offensive boards. I could go on, but Kawhi Leonard is still out. You want me to keep going on with a long list of bad things happening down in England? Except for that man, James Harden played sick as a dog. Yeah. Still got 13-13.
They are an older group, too. Shifting to Philly, where the Raptors forward Brandon Ingram was in his feelings. During the third quarter, Ingram was called for a questionable foul. I've been there, yeah, for sure.
I mean, the other day in traffic.
Then he slowly made his way to the bench.
Hey!
There it was.
Hey!
Oh!
Brandon!
That ricochet. Hey, you got like 3 people on that.
Slammed down the water bottles you see here.
Don't call HR.
Hit a staffer and then soaked Scotty Barnes.
So bad.
More NBA waterworks. Let's go to Rudy Gobert in 2018. Got ejected 3 minutes into the game and then hit a cup of water off the scoring table.
You okay, Roz?
You can't hit that hard, man. Dang.
To the 2014 playoffs, I remember this. Blake tossing some water in his shoulder.
Great acting.
It's an accident.
All that time in LA, man. That's that great acting he's learned since he's been here.
Look at his face. You can see him smile. Look at him.
And then how about Bron and RJ here in this game, and Kyrie? They're all there playing water bottle toss or whatever, flip cup or whatever that's called.
I think this is RJ.
And that's during the game. That's the fourth quarter of a blowout at Madison Square Garden.
Of course RJ was serious.
Disrespect.
Yeah.
2013, Jay Kidd, we knew this one, right? Needed a huddle, told his player to hit him.
Told that so well.
Hit me.
To get a stoppage because he didn't have timeouts, drinks spilled everywhere.
Warriors Nation, buckle up, because tonight's matchup just shifted in a massive way, and if you're a Golden State fan, this is exactly the type of pregame news you wanted to hear. The Oklahoma City Thunder, the defending NBA champions, the so-called unstoppable machine of the West, will walk into this game without not one, but two of their most important defensive pieces. Two players whose entire purpose on the scouting report is simple: make Stephen Curry's life miserable. Two potential Curry stoppers gone. And just like that, the entire landscape of this matchup has changed. Jalen Williams is out. Luguentz Dort is out. And if you know basketball, you understand exactly how big that is. Because these aren't random rotational absences. These are foundational defensive pillars that Oklahoma City relies on when the lights get bright, especially against Stephen Curry. And the fact that both are missing tonight, that means Curry will see a very different Thunder defense, a patched-together perimeter scheme, and Golden State suddenly finds itself in position to strike, even on a tough road matchup, even against the reigning MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and a team that has started the season 10-1. But let's break this down clearly. Jalen Williams, one of the most complete young wings in basketball, a third-team All-NBA selection last season, out with a wrist injury. He hasn't played a minute this season, and yet the Thunder somehow rolled to a 10-1 record without him, thanks to their hyper-efficient offense and elite defensive schemes. But even with that success, the absence of Williams' wingspan, strength, and off-ball awareness fundamentally changes how they guard Golden State's split actions, their pace changes, and especially how they trap Curry above the break. Now add in Luguentz Dort. If you know Curry's career, you know Dort is one of the toughest, most physically disruptive defenders he faces every year. But here's the plot twist. People always talk about Dort as a Curry stopper, but the numbers tell a different story. When Dort guarded Curry last season, Curry torched him. 22 points on over 53% shooting, 5 assists, 0 turnovers. Curry didn't just survive the matchup, he dominated it. He manipulated OKC's drop coverage, split their hedges, and punished Dort's strength-based defense with footwork and space creation. Still, Dort being out matters, because what Dort does better than almost anyone else is wear Curry down physically. He forces Curry to expend energy early in possessions. He bumps him off screens. He tracks him through every rotation. He makes the game uncomfortable, even if the box score still ends in Curry's favor. Without Dort, that physicality is gone, and now Oklahoma City turns to backup options who, while talented, do not offer that same level of pressure or experience. And that brings us to Alex Caruso. Warriors fans have seen Caruso before, mainly from his days in Chicago and Los Angeles. Caruso is absolutely elite defensively, and there will be possessions where he bothers Curry. But Warriors Nation, let's not rewrite history. People love to cherry-pick the one game 2 years ago where Caruso held Curry to 2 for 13 shooting. But that was a rare off night for Curry, and if you track their total career matchups, Curry has been overwhelmingly successful when defended by Caruso across multiple seasons. Caruso's strength is ball disruption, not chasing Curry through perpetual motion. And with OKC's defensive scheme now missing Dort, missing Jalen Williams, missing Aaron Wiggins, there is simply too much responsibility now placed on Caruso's shoulders for him to replicate something he did as a Bull under a completely different system. Cason Wallace will likely start and get extended minutes. Wallace is a fearless young defender, already ranking in the 97th percentile in defensive EPM. That's real, that matters. But you have to remember something important. Wallace has never been the primary defender against Stephen Curry for extended minutes. And guarding Curry is not like guarding anyone else. It's not guarding Harden. It's not guarding SGA. It's not guarding Anthony Edwards. Curry is a system unto himself. A movement engine that punishes the smallest mistake. You look away for half a second, you're dead. And for a second-year guard, that type of responsibility is a lot to ask. Let's be honest, OKC will likely test multiple looks. Some possessions will feature SGA switching onto Curry, and while the reigning MVP is long, disciplined, and smart, the Thunder absolutely do not want him guarding Curry for long stretches. They need SGA fresh offensively, and that means they're going to stagger his defensive assignments. That leaves them with Caruso, Wallace, and a handful of emergency rotations. This is a very thin defensive perimeter group for a team that relies heavily on defensive versatility. And that brings us back to Golden State. Because with Curry entering this game fully aware of how thin OKC is, the Warriors now have an opportunity, a real opportunity. And when you examine how Golden State has played against the Thunder recently, the numbers back it up. Last season, Curry averaged 28.5 points against OKC on eye-watering splits. 50% from the field, over 52% from three, almost 88% from the line. These are numbers you see from Curry when he smells weakness, when he senses an opening, when he understands that the opponent does not have the bodies to handle his pace. And in both games Curry played, the Warriors won. No gimmicks, no excuses, no moral victories for OKC. Golden State handled business. 2 victories against the eventual NBA champions, one of only 2 teams to hold a winning record against OKC across both the regular season and playoffs. This is something people do not talk about enough. Golden State has the formula to beat Oklahoma City. Even last year, in what many considered a down season, the Warriors were one of the few teams that physically and strategically matched up well with the Thunder. Golden State's front court versatility forced OKC's bigs into uncomfortable matchups. Their spacing forced OKC into scrambling rotations, and Curry was the constant variable that OKC just couldn't solve. So here we are now. Curry healthy enough to play, OKC missing 3 guards, and the Warriors entering the game with a chance to reassert themselves after a bumpy stretch of schedule that included illnesses, injuries, and rough travel. And the timing of all this couldn't be better. Golden State desperately needs the momentum. Jimmy Butler has stabilized the offense with his controlled pace and physicality. Jonathan Kuminga has shown he can shoulder scoring when Curry is out, and now he steps into a game where he can play freer off Curry's gravity. Moses Moody, Will Richard, and Al Horford are all trending upward after impactful performances. Middleton continues to find rhythm as a connector, and Steve Kerr is tightening rotations to emphasize defensive intensity. And Warriors Nation, don't overlook the psychological factor. The Thunder come into this game 10-1, riding high, feeling unbeatable. But facing Golden State, for them, brings a different kind of pressure. They remember the losses. They remember Curry slicing them up. They remember how Golden State hunted mismatches and exposed their defensive youth. Now add in the injuries, and suddenly OKC faces a Golden State team that smells blood. This is the perfect opportunity for Golden State to turn a corner, to remind the league that when this team is healthy, focused, and locked in, they are still one of the most dangerous teams in the Western Conference. A statement win tonight puts the entire NBA on notice, especially coming with 2 major defensive absences on the other side. Warriors Nation, what do you think? Will Curry take advantage of OKC's weakened defense? Will the bench continue its rise? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button if you're rocking with Warriors Nation news, and make sure to subscribe so you never miss a breakdown.